Scottie Pippen had an interview with Patrick Bet-David that got released earlier today. If you haven't watched the interview, go watch it. Definitely worth watching. Just very entertaining back and forth between these two guys. But there was one part of the interview that caught my attention when Scottie Pippen told Patrick Bet-David that he would take $100 million over winning a championship. If he could never win a championship but get $100 million, he would take the $100 million versus taking a championship over not getting paid that $100 million. That to me was very, very interesting and an entertaining answer. I actually respected the truthfulness of Scottie Pippen being honest about it because it gives us a window into what players are like today. Granted, Scottie retired from the league over 20 years ago, but it definitely gives us an insight about just how they're thinking. Just a guy like Scottie Pippen who won 6 titles, for him to say that should let you know how players feel today about just winning, that it really is about that money for these guys. I guess it's not really too surprising, but these guys value getting paid more than actually winning a championship. And you could see this, especially today, that these guys make so much more money, but because they make so much more money today, that the money is just more important than even the championship rings, that they're not willing to push themselves because the money is also that good. So this is why you see guys like Kawhi Leonard, for example, just punt on opportunities to win championships simply due to load managing. He's already won like 2 titles with the Spurs and then the Raptors. But it kind of makes sense why this guy even sabotaged the Spurs season during his final year there. And I felt that team had the capabilities to win a championship, but he wasn't willing to put himself through the grind. He just didn't care. He was all about that money, that dollar, just getting paid and just sitting out the rest of the year, essentially. But this is really an issue. This is a really issue with competitiveness. I think it shows like these guys really can't get motivated now because they're already getting paid too much. So where's the motivation? I think for Scottie, the motivation when he was a player was not just winning. It was that he didn't make enough money, that he had to be competitive. He had to play hard so he could eventually one day get that big contract that was good enough for him. Because if you remember during the 90s with the Chicago Bulls, he was underpaid. Even for that era, he was getting underpaid. I think he was making $2-3 million, which is a pretty good amount of money to make during the 90s. But when compared to the other star players in the league, he was grossly underpaid compared to those guys. So he always had a motivation that he had to compete every night so he could put himself in that position once his contract was over to get the big mega deal. So that was his motivation. But I think the question is, like, would he have been as motivated if he was getting a fat check during those Chicago Bulls title years? Would he have been motivated to go through that grind, to go through all that pain, all just to get that ring, if he was already getting the money that he desired and needed? It's hard to say. Like, I don't know. Some people could say Michael could have gotten his case, but I think it would have been very difficult. The one thing about that era that was good is that players made good money, but not enough where they could just quit trying because they always had to play for that next contract and just work very hard for it. And now you don't get that because they're already getting the big money from the get-go. They're getting paid just a lot of money, just ridiculous money that they don't have to work for the rest of their lives. That type of money, just it's astronomical, as they would say. I'm butchering that word, but you get what I'm saying. It's just insane. So I thought that was a very, very chilling response, but I respected it because he was honest about it. And just I think that's something that we should all take note of just when we see how bad the product is today. It's because these guys already got what they needed. So there's no motivation anymore. There's no carrot on the stick to motivate them to keep trying. So this is part of the reason why the league is so bad today. That's what I wanted to point out.